Hi all, once again welcome to the channel. So we are discussing about the generalized measurement system. What are different stages of generalized measurement system? What are the parts of a generalized measurement system? So we already covered generalized measurement system. Then we covered what are the static characteristics of instruments. And also we studied one type of transducer which is commonly used in engineering purposes, that is LVDT or linear variable differential transformer. So in this section we will discuss about the transducers. So as we already studied, transducers are one of the main part of generalized measurement system. The output from the primary sensing element is taken by the transducer and it transduces that to a signal mainly of electrical form. So that's the purpose of transducer. So transducer is a device which converts a physical quantity into proportional electrical signal called a transducer. So the electrical signal produced may be voltage, current or frequency. The transducer uses many effects to produce such conversion. So the primary output of the primary sensing element is taken by the transducer and it is converted to some other form. That is the purpose of transducers. That's the process of transforming a signal from one form to another is called transduction. A transducer is also called pickup. So here we can see a diagram which is already we studied when we discussed about generalized measurement system. So we have a non-electrical quantity which is the input quantity to be measured. You can see to the left of the section we have a non-electrical quantity. Then that non-electrical quantity is detected by the sensing element. So that sensing element gives an output, that's a sensor response. Then that sensor response is taken by the transduction element or the transducer and that will produce an output electrical signal. Then that electrical signal is amplified and it is modulated, amplified, and it is converted to some output signal or output reading. That is how a measurement is taking place. So that's the purpose of transducer is very important here. So transduction element performs a major role in this in any measurement system. So first is the sensing element. So that is the physical quantity or its rate of change is sensed and responded to by this part of transistor. Then from the output it is going to the transduction element. That is the output of the sensing element is passed on to the transduction element. There's some key element and this element is responsible for converting non-electrical signal into its proportional electrical signal. That is what is happening in transducer. Then there may be cases when the transduction element performs the action of both transduction and sensing. That is we will see with the help of an example. So we already know a thermocouple. It's a instrument for measuring temperature and it gives output in the form of voltage. So a thermocouple is used to generate a voltage corresponding to the heat that is generated at the junction of two dissimilar metals. So we have two dissimilar metals that is connected at two junctions and depending upon the type of metal used, the thermocouple will generate some voltage which is corresponding to the heat that is generated at the junction of two dissimilar metals. Then another one is antenna. So we all know what is antenna. It's the most basic transducer and can be made from a simple piece of wire. So it converts electromagnetic energy to electricity. That is the purpose of antenna. Antenna will convert electromagnetic energy to electricity. So whenever it receives an electromagnetic wave, it is converted to electricity. So here both the sensing or detection and transduction is simultaneously taking place. That is another element. Then third example is strain gauges. So strain gauges also we know that is used to measure the deformation or displacement of a particular part or a particular thing. So corresponding to the deformation or displacement, the strain gauges will develop some voltage. So that is a property of a strain gauge. So it's a long thin wire attached to a foil backing which is glued to an object. When the object changes its shape, the strain gauge also changes the shape and its resistance changes. That is key point. The strain gauge resistance. The resistance of the strain gauge changes when the shape of the object changes. The amount of stress or strain in the object is calculated from this change in resistance. Again, here also we can see the strain gauge will sense the deformation, and depending upon the amount of deformation, it will change the resistance of the strain gauge. That is, both sensing and transduction is taking place simultaneously here also. Then another one is accelerometer. So it is also used in car airbags, stability controls, hardwares, and many electronic gadgets. So it is based upon the principle of inertia. So whenever the position of a mass changes, that change is converted to an electrical signal or accelerometer, or in other words, accelerometer measure the force of acceleration and deceleration, and that is converted to an electrical signal. Again, here also the sensing and transduction is taking place simultaneously. So that's another example. Again, we have the microphone and speaker, that we all know what is happening in a microphone and speaker. Microphone will receive the sound signal and it will convert the sound signal to electricity, so that both the sensing and transduction is taking place simultaneously. Similarly, for loudspeaker also, what is happening in a loudspeaker? In a loudspeaker, the sound waves, the electrical signal received by the loudspeaker will be converted to the sound waves. So electrical signal is sensed by the speaker and it is converted to sound waves. So again, there also the sensing and transduction is taking place simultaneously. So these are some of the examples. Apart from this, we can see many other examples also where this transduction and sensing is taking place simultaneously. So we can now classify the transducers in many different ways. We can have different types of classification depending upon different ways. So some of the criteria for classification are based on their area of application. That's the first criteria. So based upon the area of application, we can classify the transducers, like the method of energy conversion, the nature of output signal we obtain, then according to the electrical principles involved, whether it is based on some effects like piezoelectric effect, whether it is based on Seebeck effect, or whether it is based on Peltier effect. So depending upon the electrical principles involved in converting the input or the detected signal, we can classify the transducers. Then electrical parameter used. So what is the parameter used? Whether it is the change in capacitance is used to get the output signal, or whether the change in resistance is used to get the output signal, or whether the change in voltage is used to get the output signal. So those are electrical parameters. So depending upon what parameter we are making use of, we can have some classifications. Again, the principle of operation and typical applications. So these are some of the criteria based on which we can classify the transducers. Again, another criteria we can again classify broadly like this on the basis of transduction form used. So that is the first classification. Then as the primary and secondary transducers, and as active and passive transducers, and as transducers and inverse transducers. These are another classification. Now the coming section we will see what are the details of this classification, how the transducers are classified under this category. So we will see those things in the next section. So hope you clear with what is transducer and what is the principle behind transducer, what are the classification of transducer, and why the transducer is a key component of any measurement system. I think you are clear with this concept. So wait for the next video to get to study about what are different types of transducers classified depending upon the above mentioned category. So the first classification of transducer is active and passive type transducers. So we can see an example of an active transducer first, or we will discuss about an active transducer first. So thermocouple is an example of an active transducer. So what happens in a thermocouple? Thermocouple, if two dissimilar metals are connected at the junctions, the thermocouple will generate some voltage depending upon the temperature or heat at the junction of the two dissimilar metals. So what is happening there is the sensing and transduction is taking place simultaneously in a thermocouple. So the thermocouple is based on some principle. So the principle of operation of thermocouple can be classified under three sections. Whether it may be working in Seebeck effect or Petlier effect or Thomson effect. So what is Seebeck effect? So when two conductors made from dissimilar metals are connected together, forming two common junctions, a net thermal EMF is produced at the two junctions. So we can see two dissimilar metals, metal A and metal B. These are connected at two junctions, P and Q. P is the hot junction, which is having a temperature of T1, and Q is the cold junction, which is having a temperature of T2. So depending upon the temperature difference between T1 and T2, the voltmeter will show some reading. So we will provide a heat source at hot junction to make it hot. So depending upon the temperature difference, there will be some reading at the voltmeter. That's a measure of the temperature of difference between two junctions. So here we can see that the junction will detect the temperature difference, and simultaneously it is converted to an electrical parameter, which is voltage, which is displayed in the voltmeter. So both the sensing and transduction is taking place simultaneously. That is an active type. Active means it does not need any external power source for its working. It will extract the energy needed for its working from the quantity to be measured itself. Here the quantity to be measured is the temperature difference between the two junctions. So the energy required for the working of this particular type active transducer will be derived from the input quantity to be measured itself. It does not need any external powering to operate this particular active transducer. That is why it is called active transducer. Then another example is piezoelectric transducer. So what is piezoelectric effect? There are some crystals called piezoelectric crystals. The property of piezoelectric crystal is such that when a pressure force is applied or a force is applied on the piezoelectric crystal, depending upon the magnitude of the force, the piezoelectric crystal will develop some voltage. So by measuring the voltage or by looking at how much voltage is generated, we can have an idea about what force is acted on the piezoelectric transducer. So that is also another type. Here also we can see there is no external power source required for the working of piezoelectric transducer. So the piezoelectric crystal will derive the energy required for its working from the input quantity to be measured itself, and it is converted to corresponding value of voltage. That is another example of active transducer. The principle of operation, we can see the principle of operation. I already explained, so we can read that also. That is piezoelectric effect. There are certain materials that generate an electric potential or voltage when mechanical strain is applied to them. They tend to change in dimension. So what is that? Once some strain is happen to some piezoelectric crystal, the dimension will change. Strain means there is change in length. So that means the dimension will change, and that change in dimension, due to that change in dimension, some amount of voltage will be generated in the piezoelectric crystal. That is the principle of piezoelectric transducer. So this effect is called piezoelectric effect. Piezoelectric transducer uses this principle for the measurement of pressure, temperature, etc. Then that is active one. Next one is passive. Passive means it requires some external power source for it working. We need to power the passive type transducers, or we need to give some input power to the passive type transducers for its working. So examples are LVDT. and strain gauge. So LVDT we already studied. You can refer to the previous videos how an LVDT is working. And next is strain gauge. That is another important type of passive transducer. So fundamentally all strain gauges are designed to convert a mechanical motion into an electronic signal. A change in capacitance, inductance or resistance is proportional to the strain experienced by the sensor. If a wire is held under tension, it gets slightly longer and cross-sectional area is reduced. That is, whenever some strain or change in dimension is happened to a strain gauge, either the capacitance, inductance or resistance will change depending upon the strain experienced by the sensor, and that is given as the output, and by looking at that output we can have an idea about how much strain is happened to that particular material or particular problem. This is how a strain gauge is used to measure the strain or deformation which is happened to a particular material. The strain gauge is an example of passive transducer that uses electric resistance variation in wires to sense the strain produced by a force on wires. So we have to provide an electric resistance across the wire, that is it need to be externally powered. So whenever some strain is produced in the wire due to the force, that electric resistance will change. So a change in electric resistance is a measure of strain or displacement or the deformation happened to the wire. So it is very versatile detector and transducer for measuring weight, pressure, mechanical force or displacement. So it has a wide range of application. The construction of bonded strain gauge, you can see the figure, shows a fine wire element looped back and forth on a mounting blade. So we have a mounting blade on which the force is applied, and on the top of the mounting blade, as you can see, this strain gauge is looped back and forth. That particular mounting blade will be undergoing some stress. So if we are applying some tensile stress, what will happen? You can see the direction of strain from here. I will show this the if we are applying a tensile stress up and down, or in the by pulling the mounting blade in the opposite direction, the direction of strain, the mounting plate will be straining in the direction shown here. So there will be some strain happen to the mounting plate, or that will affect the strain gauge, and thereby increases its length and decreases the cross-sectional area. So that causes the wire gauge to increase the length and decrease the cross-sectional area. So the resistance R can be found out or defined by the formula R is equal to rho L by A. So where R is the resistance change or resistance, rho is the specific resistance of the conductor material in ohm meters, that is a constant for each and every material, and L is the length of the conductor, and A is the cross-sectional area of the conductor. As a consequence of strain, two physical quantities are particular interest, that is change in gauge resistance and change in length. So the important parameters is change in gauge resistance R and the change in length L. So the relationship between these two variables called gauge factor, which is K, and it is expressed mathematically as this change its resistance R in proportional to the strain sensitivity of the wire resistance. When strain is introduced, the strain sensitivity, which is also called gauge factor, which is given by the below formula, that is delta R by R, that is change in resistance divided by original resistance divided by change in length, delta L by L, that is change in length divided by original length, that is gauge factor, is equal to delta R by R divided by strain. So from the figure you can see that the resistance, change in resistance, is directly proportional to the length. So our next classification is primary and secondary transducer. So primary transducer means it's a primary sensing element which senses the input quantities. So it's basically a mechanical device which is known as primary transducer. It senses the physical input quantities. Then the secondary transducer, that is actually this mechanical signal will be converted to electrical signal. That is basically an electrical device which converts the mechanical signal to electrical signal. The magnitude of the output signal depends upon the input mechanical signal. So that is a classification of primary and secondary transducer. So let us see an example. So we take the example of Borden tube shown in figure below. The tube acts as primary transducer. It detects the pressure and converts it into a displacement from its free end. The displacement of the free end moves the core of the linear variable displacement transformer or LVDT. So that is explained in this particular figure. You can see we have a Borden tube. Just shown here, you have the Borden tube here. This is the Borden tube. So pressure is applied on the fixed end of the Borden tube. So depending upon the pressure, the free end of the Borden tube will be having some deflection. The deflection of the free end of the Borden tube is connected to the core. It's a part of the LVDT. So depending upon the movement of the free end, the core will move, and that will induce some mutual inductance in the secondary windings of the LVDT, and correspondingly an output voltage will be displayed, which is a measure of movement of the core, which in turn is a measure of the pressure applied on the fixed end of the Borden tube pressure gauge. So here you can see the Borden tube pressure gauge is a mechanical device which is acting as the primary sensing element of the physical quantity. Here it is pressure, and the LVDT is acting as the secondary transducer, where the pressure or the displacement of the free end of the Borden tube is converted to an output voltage. That is, both primary sensing and secondary sensing element performs its work. Then next classification is direct and inverse transducer. So the device which converts non-electrical quantity into an electrical quantity is known as transducer, that we already seen. Example also we discussed: thermocouples, piezoelectric crystals, generator, etc. Then direct transducer means that will directly convert the physical quantity to be measured to an electrical signals. So there we have physical quantity to be measured, and we have the primary sensing element. The primary sensing element sends the physical quantity, and the transducer will convert the physical quantity to an electrical signal. That is what is happening in a direct transducer. But the case of an inverse transducer, the reverse is happening. That is, a transducer which converts the electrical quantity into a physical quantity, non-electrical quantity. Such type of transducer is known as inverse transducer. What is happening in a direct transducer? Just the inverse of that is happening in an inverse transducer. That is, the electrical quantity is converted back to a physical quantity. So the transducer has high electrical input and low non-electrical input. Example like in piezoelectric crystal, that also act as an inverse transducer. So that means if we apply some voltage across the surface, the piezoelectric crystal will change its shape or change its dimensions. That is acting as an inverse transducer. So piezoelectric crystal can be used as an inverse transducer or as a direct transducer. Then another one is motor. So we know what we are applying some current across the armature of the motor. So when the current is applied across the armature, the rotor of the motor will rotate. That is, electrical quantity is converted to rotary motion. That's a non-electrical quantity. That is also an inverse transducer. So the next classification is analog and digital transducer. So the transducer can also be classified by their output signals. The output signal of the transducer may be continuous or discrete. So analog means if the output signal of the transducer is a continuous function, that corresponds to an analog transducer. That is, examples are strain gauge, LVDT, thermocouple, thermistor are examples. So digital transducer means it is the output of the transducer will be in digital forms. That is the form of pulse, and its output is represented by 0 and 1 form. The digital signals work on high or low power. An example is optical encoder. So it is based upon the output signal received from the transducer. Either we can have analog transducers or digital transducers. Then next one is according to the transduction principle used. So what is the principle of used in transduction? Either it is based on capacitive transduction, or whether it is based on electromagnetic transduction, or inductive transduction, piezoelectric effect, or photovoltaic transduction, or photoconductive transduction. Depending upon the principle of transduction used, we can have these types of classifications. So the transducer is classified by the transduction medium. The transduction medium may be either resistive, inductive, or capacitive, depends upon the conversion process, that how the input transducer converts the input signal into resistance, inductance, and capacitance respectively.